I remember the moment I realized it. I just pulled a handful of Swiss chard from my garden. I took a bite right there, standing in the sun, and thought, I don't know if it tastes like this from the store. It was bright, earthy, and vibrant, and it hit me that growing your own food could teach you to see and taste and even think about food in a completely different way. Today, I'm writing solo. It's Caitlyn here, and I want to share how my garden has made me braver in the kitchen, more creative with flavors, and more appreciative of even the smallest leaves and herbs, and what a difference they can make in your cooking. We're going to talk about Swiss chard. I love Swiss chard. We're going to talk about beet greens and radish tops, fennel, cooking with saffron, and the uses of thyme that you didn't even think about. Gardening just doesn't make you a better gardener, it makes you a better cook. And trust me, your taste buds will thank you.
Welcome to Fostering Blooms, the podcast where we dig deep into gardening and all the ways it can enrich your home and life.
Together, we'll explore every aspect of gardening the organic way, keeping it simple, accessible, and fun.
Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just getting your hands in the dirt, we're here to share the tips and insights you need to grow something truly special. I'm Shannon Foster Boleen.
And I'm Caitlyn Blum, and we're two friends on a mission to cultivate beauty, creativity, and connection through everything we grow.
This is Fostering Blooms.
You know, there was a time when I looked at a bunch of Swiss chard or a handful of radish greens and thought, what do I even do with this? Honestly, it felt overwhelming, but somehow gardening completely changed the way I cook. And it's not just about eating fresh veggies from your garden. It's about different flavors, being creative, and what kind of food makes your heart as happy as your taste buds. There's really something magical about walking out to your own garden and picking exactly what you need for dinner. It's like the ingredients are standing there whispering, cook me this way, pair me with this herb, try this spice. It really has made me a more adventurous individual in the kitchen and made my family more adventurous as well with the things they like to eat and will try. Take radish tops and beet greens, for example. I would have never imagined sauteing them with a little bit of butter and red pepper flakes, and now it's one of my favorite side dishes. Even add a couple of fried eggs on top. Simple, quick, and bursting with flavor. Really, Swiss chard is one of my favorites. It grows beautifully in the garden. I like to grow it just because it's beautiful in itself. But people are like, do you ever actually cook with it? And I'm like, heck yes, I do. I love braising it with garlic and a splash of lemon juice. The flavor softens and deepens, and the texture is just perfect. Add a little bit of red pepper flakes in there and some more butter and a little bit more butter, and it's delicious. When it comes from the garden, you can just taste the difference. Picking something straight from the soil, washing it, and cooking it within minutes, there's such a vibrancy and crunch that you just don't get from the store. And when you grow what you love to eat, you naturally start experimenting in the kitchen. Gardening has also taught me seasonality. What's fresh now becomes your inspiration for meals. And it's interesting, I find myself craving things that are in season right now. When the tomatoes came in, I could not eat enough of them. And maybe that's why I'll be over them. Fall time comes, and it'll be time to be doing acorn squashes, pumpkins, and gourds. So let's talk some more about Swiss chard, beet greens, radishes, and radish tops. A lot of the times people just throw them out or compost them. Sometimes I give them to my chickens. But really, I'm like, let's utilize everything we have here. There's a lot of flavor there, and by not using it, you're missing out on some really great flavor and vitamins and minerals, I might add. They're so versatile, colorful, and really tender greens in the garden. You could saute them, braise them, toss them in some pasta, or even add them raw to salads. One of my favorite ways is to, again, saute your greens in butter. I'm telling you, just try it. Saute them in butter, add some red pepper flakes, and some fat, flaky salt on top as well. I'll also go with a little splash of vinegar or lemon juice that helps brighten up the flavors. Now, radishes, people always think about adding them to salads. Great. It's a great way to use them, but there is really more to them and how you can utilize them. Roasting them really mellows their flavor, giving them kind of a sweet, nutty edge. And again, those radish tops, you can saute them. Even try blending them in a bright, peppery pesto. Zero waste cooking has become second nature when you see everything in your garden is edible and delicious. Gardening really challenges you to get creative. You start seeing these plants not just as food, but as opportunities for flavor, texture, and color in all your meals. So let's talk about another funny one, or an underutilized one. That's fennel. I used to really ignore it at the grocery store, thinking, ooh, that's too fancy. And when I started growing it, it really changed my perspective. I think it's very easy to grow. Something to keep in mind when growing fennel is it is not a companion plant to anybody. It really is kind of a loner. And so I like to grow it in my herb area and know that it's going to do well there and not complicate anybody else's growing situation. My favorite way it's used is chopping it in thin slices and then tossing it with fresh tomatoes, cucumber, and drizzling it with olive oil and salt and pepper. It is really crunchy, so it adds a lot of crunch to your dish, and it has this subtle licorice sweetness. I'm not a big licorice fan, but the way that it adds balance to the salad, it's really refreshing and lively, and is certainly a fun way to spice up your salads. Now, the bulbs are awesome to have raw, but don't forget about fennel fronds. They can be added as garnish to any dips, fish dishes, roasted veggies, or even save them and add them to a homemade stock. My favorite simple salad combo, try it out. Fennel, tomatoes, cucumbers, a squeeze of lemon, olive oil, pinch of salt. Super bright, fresh summer flavor. Something to add to my list this year to try is using those fennel fronds for fish. Haven't tried it, gonna do it this year. I want to say this is probably one of my absolute favorite lessons from gardening and delving into the unknown is saffron. I had a friend of mine who sent me some saffron bulbs to try to grow. And I was like, okay, cool. They look pretty. It'll be fun. I can try saffron. I had never really cooked with saffron before. It's a very expensive spice that people only think of as being used in very luxurious dishes. So I kind of thought, this is out of my depth, out of my realm. But it's a beautiful flower, little crocus, purple flowers, and on the very tip are these tiny red threads, and that's the saffron. You can definitely grow it yourself. It's very easy to harvest the little saffron threads by hand. And each crocus bulb that comes up only gives 2 to 3 saffron threads. Saffron per ounce is supposed to be more expensive than gold. And you can tell by harvesting these tiny little threads just how precious it really is. So I've grown this saffron. I've worked diligently to collect it in a little jar, dried my little saffron threads. Now what do I do with it? I try to incorporate it into as many dishes as I can. The amount of depth and flavor it adds, even just to a pot of rice, is amazing. And then, too, it pairs well with so many other things that are already growing in the garden. It goes well with thyme and parsley and mint. And again, it just brings depth to cooking that you just can't replicate with store-bought herbs. I love using it in rice, paella, and even you can try using it for infused creams for dessert. I think I might try that next. And the process itself is really meditative. Carefully separating out those little threads after you've collected them, thinking about the flavors they'll bring. It's just a little act of mindfulness before the cooking even begins. So I challenge you, try to cook with saffron and see if you like it. Another thing I want to talk about is thyme. So everybody thinks thyme is this Italian herb that you can use, but it is just such a powerhouse and I really think underutilized by a lot of people who grow it. It's subtle, fragrant, and extremely versatile. It's used from Mediterranean to Italian to Moroccan, savory and sweet dishes. You can use it in soups, roasted meats, vegetables, of course, drying your thyme too, so that you can extend its use over the season. And then I really like to use thyme even outside the kitchen. I've made a thyme infused vinegar that's a really great natural cleaning solution. And it enabled me to connect my garden to my home in an unexpected way. Furthermore, I love using thyme for herbal teas and syrups. Thyme is really calming and fragrant and soothing, a good reminder of how versatile this bad boy is. Growing a variety of vegetables and herbs encourages experimentation. I've added nasturtium flowers to salad for a pop of color, and they even have a good peppery bite. Lemon balm, oh, I love lemon balm. It adds brightness to desserts and drinks, and I make it in a herbal tea almost every day. Acorn squash stuffed with herbs and greens becomes a real fun, show stopping side dish that surprises people. Even garden failures can be a blessing. When something doesn't go as planned, it pushes me to think differently, to try recipes I wouldn't have otherwise. Gardening has taught me that cooking just isn't following a recipe, but it's listening to what is available in your garden, experimenting, and being playful. A meal becomes a work of art when you understand your ingredients and let them inspire you. So, next time you're staring at a mountain of garden harvest, don't panic. See it as an invitation to play in the kitchen. Try that radish top saute, toss together a fennel salad, or infuse your balsamic rice with some saffron and fresh herbs. Gardening didn't just make me a better cook, it made me a more mindful one. Every leaf, stem, and blossom has potential in the kitchen in some way, and more than just what you see in front of your eyes. Do some research, look up some recipes, try something new. Pick one thing from your own garden or even from the farmer's market and cook it in a way you've never tried before. Or select an ingredient you've never tried before. And if you try something you love, we'd love to hear about it. Share with us your favorite garden to table recipe on Instagram or through our podcast email. Thanks for joining. Let's go grow, baby. Love what you hear? Follow along and leave us a review to keep us inspired. If you've enjoyed listening, you can also watch us on our YouTube channel at Fostering Blooms. Let's go grow, baby.